Hello students, this is another explanation video from your book Snowflakes, that is chapter number 4, my first book, and this is written by Jerome K. Jerome. So Jerome K. Jerome's stories are always very interesting and very good to read. So this is also very good story. So let's see what is given here in this story. So please sir, he said, could you tell me the time? Then after someone requested author to tell him the time. Okay, then the author by looking at his watch, then he replied to that person that it is 20 minutes to 8, means it is 7:40. Then after the person said, oh, then added for my information after a pause. Then he said, oh, I haven't got to be in till half past 8. Then the person said that I never return home before half past 8. Half past 8 means 8:30. After that we fell back into our former silence, he at his end of the park seat, I at mine. So both of them, the author and the person, both of them are sitting in a one seat, in a single seat, okay, long broad seat in a park, okay, and the person was sitting at his own side, and the author was also sitting at his own side in the same seat, okay, and there was again a silence. Then again the author asked, and do you live far away? The author asked to the person that, do you live far away? Then the person replied, oh no, only over there. He said, no, not far, just here. Then he just indicated with his arm his location, like the location was northern half of London, where it lay darkening behind the chimney-fringed horizon. I often come and sit here. Said it, my house is just here in the northern half of London, behind the chimney fridge, okay, and he said that I mostly come here and sit here in this park. It seemed an old pastime for so very small a citizen. And what makes you like to come and sit here? I said. Then after hearing that he often come to the park and sit here, the author reminds something of his old pastime, okay. Then again the author asks to the person, then what makes you like to come here and sit here for longer hour? Then after the person replied, oh, I don't know. He said that I don't know why I come here and sit. I think. He said that I think something. मतलब कि मैं सोचता हूँ कुछ. Okay. Then after the author asked that, what do you think about? Okay. That what do you think? Then he said that, oh, lot of things I think. Then what thing? Again the author asks, what things? He inspected me critically out of the corner of his eyes. So the way author is asking question to him, okay, so in this in the next page, in this picture, okay, you can see that the person is a little boy. So that's why I told person, so that in later onward you will get to know by yourself that who is that second person with which author is talking, with whom author is talking. So that person is a little boy. Then the little boy, the way he inspected him, okay, the way he is looking at him, okay, it raised me in my own conceit, means the author felt little bit pride, that means the way he is looking at him, the way he is inspecting him, okay. He evidently feeling satisfied that there was a man to whom another gentleman might speak openly and without reserve. So the author thought that there was a man, okay, that is speaking with another gentleman there without any hesitation, openly, and without any reserve, okay. Then after he wriggled sideways. So before answering him, so he wiggle means making a little bit movement, okay, while sitting. So he wiggled sideways, slipping his hand beneath him and sitting on them. So he put his hand beneath him and he sit on his hand, okay. And then after he explained, oh, fancies, means he think about something more fanciful things, okay. I'm going to be an author when I grow up and write books. So what he said, that I think something about fancies, I want to be an author when I grow up and I want to write books. The little boy said like this to author. Then I knew why it was that the sight of his little figure had drawn me to sit beside him, and why the little serious face had seemed so familiar to me as of someone I had once known long ago. So, after hearing this, okay, the author realized that पता नहीं क्यों मतलब कि उसको ऐसा लगा कि उसके साथ बैठने का, उसके साथ वो जो बैठ के बात कर रहा है उसको कुछ अटैचमेंट लगा. ही फील समथिंग लाइक अटैच टू हिम. ओके, एंड ही ऑल्सो फील दैट देयर इज समथिंग familiar no to his eyes, means to his face. Okay, the little boy figure, the way he talked, whatever he said, it seems a little bit familiar to the author. Okay, and little bit familiar to the person he know long ago. So उसको ऐसा लगा कि वो उस बच्चे को देखकर उसको ऐसा लगा कि मतलब कि उसको ऐसा लगा कि इस तरह के किसी से उसने शायद बहुत सालों पहले उससे मिला था. ओके, या फिर उसको ऐसा कुछ फील हुआ ऑथर को. सो here next, so we talked of books and bookmen. So both of them, they are talking about books and bookman means author. He told me how, having been born on the 14th of February, his name had come to Valentine. So the little boy explained his little boy name is Valentine. So he explained that how his name come as Valentine because he born on 14th of February. Then after, in return, I confided to him my name. So in return, he also said his name. Author also said his name. And then after, author discovered that he had never heard it. Author discovered that he had never heard his name, which pained me for the moment until I found that all of my contemporaries, excepting only Mr. Stevenson, he was equally ignorant, having lived with the heroes and heroines of the past. So actually, why the author feel little bit attached to the little boy when he heard that the little boy also want to be an author, because the same dream, the same desire was of author also at one time. So the author is also the author means the person is also want to write books, he is also an author. Okay, so that is why when he said his name, when he introduced his name, then the little boy said, the little boy means the author discovered that the little boy had never heard his name before. Okay, so that's why he feel little bit of disappointment that I'm not so famous at all in my work. Okay, as maybe I am an author, but still I am not so famous among the people. So it pained him, it make him little bit dissatisfied. Okay, then again he thought that it is all about my own thoughts, that only I am known as Mr. Stevenson. Okay, and I was equally ignorant in this field, and I was living with the heroes and heroines of the past, means he liked to write books about the heroes and heroines of the past, like that. So he said, I'm also equally ignorant in this field, so no one knows me, I'm not famous at all in my field. Okay, then Scott and Dumas and Victor Hugo were his favorites. So the little boy again he explained about his favorite books, favorite authors. Okay, Gulliver Travels, Robinson Crusoe, Don Quixote, and the Arabian Nights. So these are all his favorite, and both of them, the author and the little boy, they discuss about all these things. They are exchanging many pleasant and profitable ideas upon the same. Okay. Then the little boy said that he liked real stories. He said that he loved to write little stories, he loved to read little he loved to read real stories, he loved to write real stories. Okay, so in this way both of them they talk together and share their thoughts and views. Then after lots of discussion, the little boy he confessed humbly what he confessed to the author, that he used to read silly stuff, means silly books once, like magical tales and like comics book and those kind of things. Okay, then after he stopped reading when his mother said that if you read such kind of book, if you read such kind of fairy tales, then you can never be a writer, you can never write something good. So after that he stopped reading those silly stuff. Okay, then again the author concluded for him, and the author asked that, so you gave it up, means so you did not read anymore. Then he said that yes, but he again take a little deep breath, that is a little sigh of regret, that obviously he's a small boy, and a small boy, they are always attracted to fairy tales and comics books, right? But as his dream was to become an author, and his mother suggested him that don't read silly books, so there is a regret, there's a feeling of regret for him. So he said that yes, I don't read silly stuff now. And then he said that I want to learn to write very very well indeed. He said that I want to learn how to write very very well. Then again he suddenly added after a pause, his little earnest face growing still more serious. Then as they are talking, the author, he noticed him, his little face become more and more serious regarding this topic of writing books and becoming an author. Then he said that I want to write very very well, okay, and then I will be able to earn heaps of money, so I will be able to earn lots of money. Then again the author, it rose to my lips, means something author want to say, means author के जुबान तक आ चुकी थी कुछ बात, but he did not say it anything. What was the thing author want to say after hearing about earning heaps of money? um, it rose to my lips to answer him that it was not always the book written very very well that brought in the biggest heaps of money. So author wanted to say him that writing a good book doesn't help to earn lots and lots of money. That if he want to earn lot of money, then he have to devote his energies, he have to give all his energies into the glorious art of self advertisement. He have to self advertise himself, okay, and the gentle craft of making friends. He have the craft of making good friends upon the press. He have to make good friends, he have to self advertise. So after doing this only he can earn good amount of money. Only writing good book doesn't help him to uh, earn good amount of money. But means these are the things he wanted to say after hearing about earning money from the boy. He wanted to say, but he stopped, okay. But something about the innocent face beside me silenced my middle age cynicism. So when he look at his innocent face, he becomes silent, okay. So then after again the author asked, and what you will do with by earning heaps of money, that what you will do Valentine by earning lot of money. Then for a moment his old shyness returns, and for a little moment again he feels shy to replied his answer. Perhaps it was not quite a legitimate question from a friend of such recent standing. Then the author also realized that it is not a good question to ask to a person, to a friend. He thought him as his friend, to a friend with such a recent standing, with such a recent introduction, okay. They just met that day in the evening. So that is why he also find that it is not a good question. Legitimate means legal question. But his frankness wrestled with his reserve and once more concurred. But the way the little boy frankly talk, again it break his reservedness, and then again he answered, Mama need not do any work then. He answered that if I will earn lot of money, then my mother, she did not she will not do any kind of work, okay. She need not to do any kind of work. She isn't really strong enough for it, you know. He said that she is not so strong to work so much, and I had take her to live in the country. The country here is so much better for her, you know, and Aunt Emma too. He said that I will take her to the country, means their own hometown, and he said that the hometown's air is good for her health and for Aunt Emma also. But I confess that as regard Aunt Emma, his tone was not enthusiastic. Then again the author realized that the way he said Aunt Emma, okay, he was not so worried about Aunt Emma, much more he is worried about his mother. I spoke to him, I trust not discouragingly, of the trial and troubles of the literary career and of difficulties and disappointment awaiting the literary aspirant, but my croaking terrified him not. So the author, after hearing all these things, the author, he did not spoke to, I means the way he spoke to him, but he wanted to tell him that in his literary career, okay, the aspirant means Aspirant means what you can say, the person who wanted to do something in the future, that is aspirant. So he's a literary aspirant, he want to write books, so he's a literary aspirant. So as a literary, as choosing a literary career, there are a lot of trials and lot of troubles, lot of obstacles he is going to face, lot of difficulties and disappointment he is going to face. Okay, so about all these things the author want to say him, but he could not say, he could not say to the boy. Then again the boy replied, Mama says that every work worth doing is difficult, and that it doesn't matter what career we choose, there are difficulties and disappointment to be overcome, and that I must work very hard and say to myself, I will succeed, and then in the end, I shall. Then he said what his mother used to say, that whatever career you choose, whatever work you will do, you will have to face difficulty. Whatever career you choose, doesn't matter, uh, whatever it is, you have to face difficulties and disappointment, and you have to overcome those difficulties and disappointments. And for that, we must have to work very very hard, and we have to say to ourselves that I will succeed, and in the end we will definitely succeed. So these are the things little boy said to the author, which little boy's mothers usually says to him. Though of course it may be a long time, he added cheerfully. Again he added cheerfully, happily, that maybe the success will come after a long time, but we have to overcome all our difficulties. Only one thing is the in the slightest daunted me, that was the weakness of his spelling. So he is very very determined toward his career to become a writer. So only one thing it daunted him, means one thing is like a obstacle for him in this field, that is the weakness of his spelling. So he is very very weak in his spellings. Okay, and I suppose he asked, you must spell very very well indeed to be an author. Then again uh, he asked that if you want to write, if you want to be an author, then we have to spell very very well also. Okay, so he said by himself. I explained to him, however, that his failing was generally obscured by a little judicious indistinctness of calligraphy, and all obstacle thus removed. The business of a literary gent seemed to him an exceptionally pleasant and joyous one. So author, he explained him that if you do little bit of hard work in calligraphy, okay, practicing the calligraphy, then all this problem will removed automatically. Okay, and the literally gent means to be a gentleman, to be an author. Okay, to be a something in the field of literary. Okay, it will be a very very pleasant and joyous one. So only you think, the thing you need to means, he gave him an advice after hearing his problem. The author, he gave him an advice that you have to practice properly all those calligraphy. Okay, and after practicing the calligraphy, all the obstacles which you are feeling, it will be removed automatically. Then Mama said it is a noble calling, he confided to me, and that anyone ought to be very proud and glad to be able to write books, because they give people happiness and make them forget things, and that one must try to be awfully good if one's going to be an author, so as to be worthy to help and teach other. So he said about what his mother used to say, that writing a book is a noble calling. Noble calling means a uh, uh, noble work. Okay, writing a book is a noble work. Why it is a noble work? That anyone ought to be very very proud and glad to be able to write books. So the person who write books, they have to feel very very proud and glad on themselves, because they give happiness to the people. Okay, when a people read books, they forget others thing, they forget all their worries, all their worries and tension, they forget, they make people forget things. Okay, forget all the things, and it give happiness to the reader. And one must try to write awfully good, means one must try to write good things if one's going to be an author. If someone want to be an author, they have to try to write good things, so as to be worthy to help and teach other, so that they can help other, they can teach other by their words, by their sentence, by their books. Okay, so that is why the little boy's mother called writing as a noble calling, means noble work, good work. And do you try to be awfully good, Valentine? I inquired. Then the author asked him that, did you try to be awfully good in writing? Then he said that, yes, but it's awfully hard, you know. I don't know anybody could ever be quite good until he corrected himself. They were grown up. He said that, yes, I try to write good things, but uh, I don't think anybody could ever be quite good. He said that anybody cannot write good until he grown up. So he said by himself that I'm now a small boy, okay, I'm trying to write books, but my writing are not so good till now. I cannot improve my writing. So he said that until unless the person grew up, they cannot be good in writing. So the little boy said like this. Then after the author said, uh, he again, the little boy again said, by added with a little sigh, by taking a deep breath, I suppose it's easy for grown up people to be good. Then he said that, I think grown up people means the grown up aged people, they are very very good in writing. Then it was my turn to glance suspiciously at him, wondering if the seeds of satire could have taken root already in the tiny brain. But his eyes met mine without flinching, and I was not loath to drift away from the point. So, he, the author, realized that to become an author, okay, the seed is already, its root already taken deep, okay, inside the tiny brain. Means he was very very distinct and determined to be an author, okay. And that is why the author, he cannot remove his eyes, okay, he cannot drift his eyes from the boy's eyes, okay. He feels something very very familiar when he was also a young boy. At a time his ideas and thoughts was very very familiar to this little boy. Author's ideas and author this one ideas and author desires and wishes, he found it very very familiar and similar to the young boy, okay. Then again the author asked, and what else does your mama say about literature, Valentine? He asked her, what your mother said more about this literature. For the strangeness of it was that, though I kept repeating under my breath, copy book maximum, the word stirred with me old childish thought and sentiment that I, in my cleverness, had long since learned to laugh at, and finding in them, in spite of myself, a certain element of truth, a certain amount of helpfulness, and unpleasant suggestion of reproach. So, copybook maxim is the old thoughts which he used to keep repeating when he was a child. Copybook maxim means copy others' book the much as possible. This is the meaning of copybook maxim. So, this was his old thoughts which he used to, childish thoughts which he used to keep earlier. And now he actually laugh at his own thoughts, this thought, okay. So somewhere he reminded his old thought after hearing the boy's views and thoughts regarding writing books. His old thoughts, it refreshed his mind about copybook maxim, okay. This is the thought at that time comes to his mind, okay. Then after he tucked his hand underneath him as before and sat swinging his short leg. So he tucked his hand underneath him, the little boy, and again he swing his short leg. Then again he said, oh, lot of things. That he said that I have again lot of things to say. Then I persisted, yes please, yeah. Oh, that, he repeated it slowly. Then again he said slowly, recalling it word for word as he went on. He said slowly that he who can write a great book is greater than a king, that a good book is better than a good sermon, okay. So he said that the person who can write good book is greater than a king, okay. And then an author would never forget that the gift of being able to write is given to anybody interested. So he said that then author should never forget that the gift of writing a good book is a kind of art, okay, which anybody cannot get. I could not avoid a smile. So after hearing this, the author, he could not avoid a smile. He smiled. He smiled after hearing his words, and then after the next moment, something happened to him, and he take the little boy's hand in his hand, and after turning to his face, and he said to the little boy that if ever there comes a time, little man, when you are tempted to laugh at your mother's old fashioned notion, and such a time may come, remember that an older man that you once told you that had he always kept them in his heart, he would have done better work. So he said that if ever you will get a time, if ever the time will come, okay, and when you will laugh at your mother's old fashioned notion, means this all things are said to him by his mother, right? So when you laugh at your your mother's old fashioned thoughts, okay, at a time, such a time may come. So that time will obviously come when you will grow up, okay. And at a time you remember that an older man that you once told you that had he always kept, means at a time you will always remember the older man. He's talking about him, the author is talking about him. At a time you always remember about the older man who always asks you to do better work, okay. Then, growing frightened at my own earnestness, as we men do, deeming it something to be ashamed of, I led the conversation back to him. So again, he when he recall his own past means what? Actually, the author was also a writer, okay, and he could not succeed in his field, okay. So that is why whenever he thought about his old times, whenever he thought about his old passion, at the time get little bit frightened. So he feel little bit ashamed of himself also. So again he stopped the conversation there, and again he asked something to him to divert his own mind. He asked the little boy that have you ever tried write anything, that have you ever tried writing anything now? Then he said of course he had, but need to question, and it was strange to say a story about a little boy who lived with his mother and aunt and who went to school. So he got the answer. So as he got his answer that yes, of course he had written something. Obviously, a person first always write about himself. So he write about a story about a little boy who lived with his mother and aunt and who went to school. So this is the first thing the little boy started to write, and it is a sort of autobiographical, okay. And what does mama think of it? Then after, the author asked him that you have written about yourself, you have written an autobiographical story, so what your mama think of it? After we had discussed the advantage of drawing upon one's own personal experience for one's material, so he said, the little boy said that mama think it is very clever in part. He said that writing about our own self is also a very good job to do, good, right? You read it to her, I suggested. Then author said that you have read your autobiography to her, in front of her. Then after he said that yes, in the evening when she is working and Aunt Emma isn't there. He said that yes, I have read before my mother in the evening when she is working, and when Aunt Emma, she is not there in the home. At the time I read my autobiography in front of her. Then suddenly he said, then again suddenly the little boy said, please sir, could you tell me the time? He again asked the time. Then just over the quarter. He said that just it is 8:30. Valentine, I answered looking at my watch. So the author answered him just over the quarter. He rose and held out his hand. Then he stood up and then he put out his hand. Then he said, I don't know, it was so late. He said, I must go now. He said that I don't know that it is so late today. So they discussed a lot of things, and he did not realize that it's very very late now. He raised his cap with an old-fashioned courtesy and trotted off. Some distance down the path he turned and waved his hand to me, and I watched him disappear in the twilight. So he raised his cap and he put it in an old-fashioned way, and then after walking a little bit far for the distance, he turned and he waved his hand to the author by saying goodbye, and in this way he disappeared in the twilight. Okay, he disappeared. Then after, the last one, I sat on for a while, thinking many thoughts, until there rang a hoarse cry, all out, and slowly I moved homeward. So he sat there for a while, thinking everything. There are a lot of thoughts come in his mind. Okay, after talking, after a long conversation with that little boy, then he was sank deep into his thought, until and unless he heard the rang a horse cry in the park, means that someone said that all out means it's time to close the park. Okay, and slowly he moved to his home, the author moved to his home. So this is an adapted story, that is written by Jerome K. Jerome. So I hope you understand this story. So for this much, thank you.